Since the dawn of time, it has been known that our primal origins derive from the infinite cosmos itself. And if we come from recondite sidereal space, then we believe it is fundamental to strive to become more aware of the fact that we form part of this stellar universe. As we well know, unfortunately, we are being obstructed in an effort to prevent our triumphant and conscious return from becoming fact. We make this point as throughout our history we have been completely restricted. And it is packed with deception and all kinds of omissions, so that we were unable to perceive our stellar reality. So, in order that this objective, supported by so many schemes, be stronger still, the dominating dark alien course of action has been to keep our body, mind and psyche occupied with trivial matters. Because if our energies are obstructed and debilitated, it is very difficult for us to realize the very valuable asset that is a future of light. We can indeed say that, with the passing of time, these aliens have disrupted our glorious fate, and, as long as they stay hidden behind their masks, and disguised within human bodies, there is very little we can do. Because they have stealthily camouflaged themselves throughout the ages, and continue to do so in the present day, using advanced science and highly robotic technologies. Worse still, they have known how to astutely govern and control us, using many different excuses so that we would serve them unconditionally. The constant pressure of penning us in, and the dominating control they exert, is not something that has been going on for a short span of time. Rather, it affected ancient Lemuria and the legendary Atlantis as well. This factor triggered deeply painful and highly destructive realities for our civilization in the distant past. Because invading aliens have been present since the submersion of these ancient continents, and they have once again returned to our new terrestrial stage. Their purpose is to continue perpetuating harm on the Earth's inhabitants. As we will see throughout the course of this interesting documentary. In this specific case, we are referring to a mysterious world that is currently approaching our solar system, and its orbit is coming closer to that of the Earth. We are not the only ones to discuss these matters, however. Several prestigious astronauts, astrophysicists, writers, and researchers have disclosed and commented on them in detail. Through this disclosure, they have warned the international community of the existence of a strange celestial body that is 4 times larger than Jupiter. It is approaching our solar orbital field, and, although it now finds itself on the border of our star system, we must emphasize that it remains hidden behind the strange Oort cloud, located in the mysterious Kuiper belt. We can therefore verify that something extremely intense is getting closer. whilst humanity, as always, ignores the effects this reality has on our lives, indicating the fact that if said events continue to follow the same unyielding course, very little can be done to safeguard the current civilization. Yet, a very striking question remains. Why have men of science, despite all their sophisticated satellites and countless high-resolution telescopes, never openly discussed this reality that is of great interest to all of us, even if we are, in reality, dealing with a world that was well known in ancient Mesopotamia and Sumer? Is there something that humanity today is being prevented from knowing, and if so, why do they want to hide its existence? Could it be because people from ancient eras, and even those living today, had been subject to unparalleled silent slavery, and no one has the strength necessary to denounce this tyrannical and unjust interference? Based on our research, we are dealing with a roving world that first approached our planet thousands of years ago with the sole aim of taking over everything our planet Earth had to offer. Huge amounts of minerals and precious metals were extracted from our terrestrial globe in order to reinforce their dying and stripped planet, as we will see later. By drawing their roaming planet closer to our solar system, they also provoked a series of terrible catastrophes, the likes of which had never been seen in the entire history of our blue planet. These prehistoric disasters were induced by the gravitational influence of Niburi, or Planet X, which interrupted the orbits of other planets as well, and many cultures that have come before us bore witness to this fact. Yet, how were the populace and the planet Earth affected as a result of the dark interference of these extraterrestrial beings from the dark shadows? Firstly, we know that many peoples who disagreed with this alien interference rose up against these usurpers, provoking countless wars to get them to go back to their own evil world. However, since clear results were not achieved on behalf of the light, our planet was forced to provoke terrible geological convulsions because it was conscious of the fact that if it did not proceed with far-reaching impetus, the dark powers would continue living on Gaia forever. Thus, in order to purge itself of the toxic energies that resulted from having this roving planet move through infinite galactic space, the Earth reacted against these discordant vibrations. Though innumerable earthquakes and tsunami, which followed on from telluric movements and led to an increase in sea level during that era, the elite, amongst others, returned to their roving planet, whilst many faced worse fate and were killed, making the utter destruction complete. This extinction involved a number of giants, and many of them perished at the hands of beings who fought to defend our Earth from the interference of these titans of darkness. Once the planet was purified to its core, by means of the Great Flood, new continents and new peoples re-emerged. To begin a new resurgence. And we are all products of this renaissance. Thus, as the ages have passed, we can see how the inhabitants of this bleak planet, Niburi, also known as Planet X, which is likely the very same wormwood mentioned in the Bible, seem to be returning to our solar orbit once again, and after transiting the entire solar system, they will go back from whence they came, following a cold trajectory through outer space. Yet, before they complete their unconventional planetary cycle and depart, they first have the ignoble task of extracting all of our planet's energy, just as they did in bygone times. All of the Earth's inhabitants are involved in this process, because these beings suck the life from us, like leeches, or vampires, they siphon off the different vital energies we possess. This is why people are feeling more and more exhausted and devitalized, or subject to sudden impulses towards negative behavior, which is a result of all the dense energy that is being ceaselessly emitted by the moon. This is also an effect of the powerful vibrational field that the planet Nibiru gives off at a distance. Because it is like a mangle, it squeezes out energy. It is also known as Marduk, named in remembrance of the principal leader of the Nibiruian army. Marduk was precisely the reason many wars were waged against countries that refused to let themselves be genetically modified, and that posed a potential threat to their strict military control. Although the planet Marduk Nibiru continues to remain imperceptible on a physical level, in reality, one of its main endeavors is to bring its native inhabitants back to its own world. That is to say, those who were once called Sumerians, Mesopotamians, Hittites, Annunaki, Nephilim, and Babylonians. We can, therefore, understand that all of these descendants, who managed to astutely disguise or camouflage themselves amongst human beings, and who were later called Moabites, Edomites, Philistines, Ammonites and Canaanites, are currently known as the Illuminati. Together with other branches, forming part of the hegemonic pyramid model they have built, which are related to each other and share close communicative ties, as well as being involved in bloodthirsty trafficking that includes the abduction and cloning of human beings, which are carried out within the secret space program, SSP, which has bases on various planets, but whose main base is on the moon. They are waiting for the upcoming arrival of their planet Nibiru. So when the great catastrophe that is in store for us takes place, they will supposedly be able to return to their underground, secret world. Nonetheless, they have not considered that is a result of their evil deeds and the abuse they have committed on a global scale in the present era, and throughout centuries past, they have earned themselves unpayable karma. This karmic transgression is of incalculable magnitude, and they must all repay divinity and be accountable to the designs, whose origins are in creation itself, a product of the geometry of this universe. Furthermore, independent of this dreadful reality that awaits us, we have to raise our cognition consciousness and become fully aware that we cannot continue to be victims of the anti-light, which is well camouflaged within religious organizations. It is also important to emphasize that, as long as our slumbering endures, and we persist in this quasi-hypnotic state that abounds everywhere, we have no doubt that the vast majority of humanity will continue unconditionally serving the usurpers of our psyche, emotions and life. Because the darkness is solely interested in fulfilling its stark agenda, so that it can persevere in its evil humiliation of humanity, forcing us to succumb in all possible ways. At the same time, they strive to leave us without physical energy, or the kind that comes from etheric regions, or the astral world, where dreams take place. And simultaneously, they are forcing the whole of humanity towards total economic collapse, homelessness, and poverty. We can consequently understand that the awakening of our sedated consciousness is more than urgent, if we truly yearn to free ourselves from the claws of these cruel fraudsters that have been embroiled in our lives for many centuries. In this case, we would like to remind viewers that we are dealing with dark beings who will relentlessly pursue their disastrous desire to destroy us, just as they did in past eras. In fact, their precise aim is to give us no respite that would enable us to evolve as people and as a human race. For this reason, we insist upon striving to become more positive, empathetic people. Because if we do, we will not enter into their dense frequency, and our lives will become much more pleasant. With regards to the anti-light's imperious need to extract humanity's vital energy field, which the masses constantly project unconsciously, without giving it the slightest value. It is also well known that the dark forces extract these vibrations that are so precious to life, and they feed on them psychologically and energetically. In addition to acquiring our planetary resources, including metals and minerals, as previously stated.